All of the senates are in the House of Representatives.
Say again?
When they come for meetings and stuff,
they all meet together and they discuss about making law. If I wanted a law to say what I just saw on here change, who would I talk to? Nobody?
Legislature.
I'm going to talk to somebody in the legislative branch. I'm either going to talk to my member of the House of Representatives or my U.S. Senator, and I'm going to say, I've got an idea. I would like to change this law. They might say, wow, Mr. Lee, that's kind of dumb. Well, we're not going to do that. Or they could say, that's a good idea. Let's look at it. Let's talk about some of the other principles. What is federalism? Everybody better know that one. What are we talking about?
it's power divided between national and state governments.
Power divided between the national and the state government. So when we divide powers, does that mean you get this half and I get this half, or are we going to overlap somewhere in between?
Overlap.
We're going to overlap. We talk about separation of powers. Why do we separate powers, Ms. Thompson? Do you really want me to have all the power like I have in the classroom? Mm-hmm. Or would you, yes ma'am.
So you won't get overpowered.
So nobody gets overpowered. If I was a dictator in here, I would say, no one can go to the bathroom. Wait a minute, I do say that.
I know.
Am I a dictator?
Yes.
In here? Do we have a democracy in here? Do we get to vote on what lesson we're going to teach today?
No.
No, okay, so it's a little different. But in the real world, we got to change some of the things. Let's look at some more principles of the Constitution. What does checks and balances mean? You just said it earlier. Yes, sir?
Each branch has some control over the same two branches. I mean, over the other ones.
So if I walk in and say something totally wrong, you don't think Ms. Carolyn comes over and says, Mr. Lee, you mispronounced that word. You don't think she does that to me?
Yes, she does.
You've seen her do it to me, right?
Yes.
Mr. Lee, you missed it. Okay? So we have checks and balances. She's my check and balance. She says, whoa, Mr. Lee, you missed that one. You might want to go back and look at it. And I'll come in and say, don't let them do that to you. Get them right. So we work with each other. We're a check and balance system, right? Ladies and gentlemen, Lee and Watkins, the checks and balance system. She checks me, I check her, and we make sure you get the message. Okay? Veto. That's called an extraordinary power. It belongs to who?
The president.
The president. A bill doesn't get his desk and he doesn't like it, he says veto in the bill, right?
Legal words down. Legal words.
We're moving on. We're going to talk about all the ways the checks and balances system works a little later on. But right now, it suffices to tell you, Congress can stop the judicial branch, the legislative branch can stop the executive branch can stop the legislative branch, and it has some control over the judicial branch. The judicial branch has both the legislative and the executive branch. All of them depend on each other to get the job done. And if they don't work together, what happens?
Our country is not in order.
It's not in order and it doesn't get passed. We all can agree the law doesn't pass, right?
Right.
Let's keep talking. Judicial review. That's where the Supreme Court looks at a law and says it violates the Constitution. So if I made a law and I went to my congressman and said, I think all women should have their heads shaved. He said, I think you're right, Mr. Lee. That's a good law. The president agrees with us. He signs it. It's a great law. What happens when it gets to the Supreme Court?
If they can invalidate it along.
They're going to invalidate it. What does invalidate mean? They're going to reject it. You have freedom to wear your hair any way you want, don't you? So if I said you had to shave it, am I wrong? Yes. All men can grow their hair long. Women got to be bald. Would that be a good law?
No.
No, but so it's going to get struck down. That's an absurd law. Limiting government. You don't want me to have absolute power, do you? Because then I would make stupid laws like all women have to shave their head.
Yes.
So you want to limit my ability to make laws, right?
Right.
You want to limit the actions of our government, what we can and can't do. Let's talk about understanding the Constitution. You have to understand it. You have to know what your constitutional rights are. The U.S. Constitution balances the power of the federal government among the legislative and executive branch. The framers of the Constitution believed in federalism. In essence, they thought the federal government and the state government should share control or power, much like you at home. Your mother and your father shared power in the house, right? Have mom ever told you to do something and dad said don't do it? Yeah. Who wins out?
Mom.
Mom always did in my house too. Still don't like that. And I lose battles with my wife all the time, you know? Kids can't go to the movie. Well, I think they did a good job, dear, so they should be able to go. Okay. The federal system divides power between the federal government and the state government. Powers that belong only to the federal government are called what kind of powers? Think about it. Belongs only to the federal government. What are they called? These are only the things the presidents can do. President and the cabinet. What are they called? Delegated powers. Some of our delegated powers. Only the federal government can coin money. Mr. Taylor cannot make money for us, okay? He can't have Taylor bucks floating around the city. He can't make Taylor coins. Declare war. Louisiana can't declare war on anybody. Can anyone else declare war? Can any state declare war on another country? No. Only the federal government. That's their power. Powers belonging only to the state are called reserved powers. You heard Ms. Jackson talk today about a 13-year school term. How did y'all feel about that?
Bad.
Bad. Why?
Because we're ready to get out. We're gonna be ready to get out.
You're going to be ready to get out. You can't wait to become an adult, right?
Yes.
You are so mistaken in your life, baby.
I'm not
Stay
rushing
here.
myself.
Okay, reserved powers. If we do go to that, it's because the state of Louisiana has control of education. The state of Louisiana will determine whether or not we can actually go to a 13-year school year for you.
13th.
13th grade.
Yep.
14th.
Okay, you're superstitious, right? I don't want to graduate from a school where there's 13 days, right? Okay, listen, I live at the last two numbers in my house address is 13. The only bad luck I had is not having the house, okay? So there's no bad luck in 13. Let's talk about concurrent powers. These are the things that both of them share. Give me an example of a concurrent power. Mr. Taylor?
Tax.
Taxing. What is taxing?
We have to,
Help him out.
Like when you have to pay for, you have to pay like, when you pay 9 cents, like at the store.
You pay that 9 cents on every dollar, right?
Right.
That's being taxed. You get out of paying taxes?
No.
no.
No. You want to get out of paying taxes?
Well, actually,
You don't want to pay taxes,
you
right?
can get out of paying taxes if you live on post and go to PX.
Yeah, military is tax exempt. You're absolutely right. That's why I went down during the Thanksgiving holidays to the post at Bell Chase. I get to buy things there without paying taxes. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Is we still in debt?
Are we still in debt? Absolutely. We spend more than we get. How about, let's talk about the elastic clause. Okay? Yes, sir.
The elastic clause allows Congress to stretch its delegated powers to deal with unexpected issues.
Now, what would that mean? What would be an unexpected issue?
A surprise attack on the United States.
That could be one. What would be another example of a need for an elastic clause? Let me ask you something. When the framers created the Constitution, do you really think they were talking about driving their cars down the street? No. So how did they make laws about cars? No.
The left.
By
20 years ago, my phone was that big and I couldn't ride it around in my car. Some of the rules we made about phones, you think?
They made the elastic clause.
The elastic clause, it allows the Constitution to expand to new inventions and new ideas that come in. So if we have those things, don't they change the world for us? 20 years ago, nobody knew anything about text messaging. We didn't have the internet. So guess what? there were no laws against me texting while I'm driving. Are there laws against it today?
Yes.
Good reason, right? 20 years ago, a movie camera was about this big. Now they're so small you can put them anywhere. So we have to make laws about what you can and can't use a camera for, correct?
Right, and texting and driving don't go together.
That's right. You know, when I was a child, nobody had a music system in their car that was so loud that you'd be pulling up next to them in the parking lot and they go, brum, 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 brum. You said, oh Lord, listen to this fool. We do today. Some cities have made laws that says we have too much noise. If you don't cut your stereo down, we're going to give you a ticket. Let's move it on. Let's talk about separation of the branch of government.
Separation.
What does the legislative branch do again, quickly?
Make laws.
Make laws. Really? They write them, they make them. They confirm the president's appointments. So the president can't just say, I want you, you, and you